This conference will now be recorded.
Before that texted back or here. So that's it. And that would be a quorum.
I have a quorum, but we're gonna do the redistricting, or
Reorganization, that's up to you guys. If you guys want to go along with it.
we don't wanna wait until we have a full.
Amend the agenda and just wait till you have a full.
Whenever we get to it.
Yes.
Reorganization. Next board meeting. So we're ready to these. I call this meeting to order for the meeting of the P and Z Extraterritorial Planning and Zoning for March 16, 2022.
Yeah, I didn't change the date on top of that, did I?
Not for this. Not till we do these things.
Do you have an agenda?
Yes. I'll accept a motion for the approval of the agenda.
With the change of the reorganization of the board to be.
Oh, yeah.
at our next meeting.
How's everybody doing today?
Good luck.
About the first time. Let's see, it says something on my right.
Can I get a roll call vote on the approval of the agenda?
With the motion to remove, correct?
Yes.
Did we get a second?
Do we need
Second.
Okay, so. Member Marlo Price,
Yes.
member Katie Bird.
Here.
Yes.
Yes.
Member Zach Weezer. Member Julia Myers.
Yes.
And member Betty Price.
Yes. Has everyone had a chance to read the meetings minutes? September 29th. Did you read the meetings? Did you read the minutes?
I haven't read the minutes yet, Mrs. Price. I know, but I bet it's okay.
I'll accept a motion. Second.
Second first.
Public comment.
Do you want a roll call vote on that or you just want all ayes?
Hey, Alvin. Aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain since I didn't have a chance to read them. Wasn't here.
Okay, now we're at public comment. Does anybody have any public comment? Okay, if not, we'll move to action items. I'll accept a motion for the 502 Lone Star Lane Zone Change for special use. Is there a motion?
That'll just be a motion to consider.
Second.
Crystal?
Good evening. How are we all today? My first one is 502 Lone Star Lane. They have a trucking company out at this property. A property was purchased by the same owners in 2000. They've been in business with the trucking company out there since 2008. They've never had any issues with the yard being there. Just switch to the next. They want to switch this from an R1. Nope, wrong one. Go back. Sorry, I only have the one photo of this one. So is everybody familiar with this area
Yeah.
between Waters and Six Shooter out in there? Okay. They're wanting to switch from the R1, which it is currently an R1 residential district. and they want to switch it to an R3, or they would like to, if we're not in favor of a zone change, maybe they thought we might consider a special use, which would only allow the use of the trucking yard as long as it is there.
Yeah.
If they sell the trucking yard, the new owners would have to come in and do the same thing. If they move the trucking yard elsewhere, it would no longer be acceptable for another person to move in and do that. So the special use would give more control of it remaining in R1. It would just, that one use would be allowed for the time that the business is
He's
there.
had a long time out there.
Yes, 14 years it's been
That's
there.
what I was thinking.
I did have one objection, and I do believe you got the email on that one, the objection to 502 Lone Star Lane. If you want to read through that, owner stated that, the single family residential, he's against it going to an R3. He's the owner of the property directly north of the trucking and shop yard that has been operating at this location for years. And he attached pictures of the impact of the 18-wheelers have had directly onto his property. So you can see those photos there.
How large is the parcel that we're talking about?
This parcel is,
Is it
it's large. They own,
more than 10 or 15 acres or 5
no,
or 10?
It's,
let me see, I had that.
it's lots.
This is the owner. If you'll step up and say your name to the podium in case they have other questions. It's the owner of the lot.
Let's hear about it.
What's up? No, it's 10 acres, about 10 acres.
That's what I thought.
But when I bought that place, it was just pasture out there. It wasn't any, nothing out there. That's been a long time ago. And to me, if it's residential, how come? And if it's got street names, if somebody has an acre out there, you said it's out there when it rains, they're not gonna get in there, So why, if it's, why have they not ever built streets out there that really, made it
Actually get it developed?
develop it? I just don't understand that.
Are you the only guy out there that's got a trucking yard
No,
out
there's
there?
nothing wrong with that.
Oh, there is, okay, all right.
And I really did, Eddie, not been. Really, I only have, I kind of got out from the trucking. I just got 2 trucks, well,
Yeah,
2 pump trucks and 2 bag trucks, and then I got 5 pulling units, but my pulling units, they never come, they stay out in the locations.
so yeah, no, the reason for my question is because, just from going out there and a little bit of assumption, there are probably lots of folks that have yards out there, right?
Well, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's just,
The only reason we're talking to you is because there was a complaint, is that right?
I don't know.
There was the code enforcement, and there is a complaint, yes.
Okay.
But code enforcement is what initiated this out there. The county code officer went by and they're trying to cite more people and tell them to come in and either do the zone change or move the business elsewhere.
So are they doing this to everyone else?
They are hitting several places,
Okay.
and
Are
that
we
is
gonna
why
be
we have
talking
so
to them?
many tonight.
Will we be talking to them as well?
You will be
Okay.
talking to some more. There is
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
There is another one directly in this area. The other 2 are a little further off. We did talk to one back in September that was on 6 year itself. So, the county is slowly trying to, look at this and make citizens come in and do these zone changes or things like that, or remove those.
Okay.
Is that right? Any
And-
questions?
You are Armando, right?
Yes, I'm on there.
Yes.
You have a complaint of people, of you driving across somebody else's property. Is there another way for you to get into your property?
Yeah, there's 2 ways you can get in there.
Public truck roads.
They're rough, so you can't, if it rains, you can't get in. You can't get in out of one of them. The other one you can, but there's not any way to really, because there's not any roads out there. You just make new roads out there.
Talk to the county about doing the.
Yeah, but they said that's not their responsibility. That's private property. They don't. I'm like, well, how come you got to put street names on it?
Yeah, because they are actually platted easements in a subdivision out there. They are actually platted easements.
Is that if you put street names, you're supposed to maintain the roads?
That's what I thought.
There's never been anybody maintain, I mean, you can go out there and drive, I mean, I don't know if you ever drove out there.
And you're talking about Canyon Drive.
Huh?
Canyon?
What?
Canyon Drive runs north and south there. Lone Star's one that runs east and west that goes out straight to the north side of their property. Canyon Drive is the one that would go right to the east of their property. And they actually own that tract that's blank over there too. You guys own that whole block too, don't you?
Yeah, from the west to the east.
Mhm. So they actually own from Terrace Street all the way over to, so where that triangle's at, they own that empty lot just to the east of that also. Another
So did you
whole,
talk-
like, it's a block on a subdivision. They own the 2 blocks on the
Did you
subdivision.
talk to the road department or did you talk to the county commissioners?
To the county commissioners, to the city commissioners, to everybody.
They jump right on
Not yet.
Okay.
Hey,
Yeah, you can really tell.
So I also wanted to point out, if you can see where the old railroad tracks used to be there on the drawing, it's the black and white dotted line where the old railroad tracks used to go up right behind his property. That area, all the way to his property line and 350 foot to the west is actually an industrial zone. So he's right next to an industrial zone already.
That's what I was thinking.
So having a commercial there to buffer that industrial zone that's already there is not a bad thing.
That's what I'm-
Sure, yeah.
If you look at it that way.
Yeah, because that's what I thought it was.
Because that railroad track is an
Uh-huh.
industrial zone that goes right up through there.
I couldn't really tell how far away it was.
Even though the railroad tracks are there,
But it's still.
it's still, the zone is still there. Nobody's ever come back in and
It's
redid
still
that zone.
considered railroad property.
Yes, it is.
They sold all that property.
A lot of it has been sold off to different people, but it is still, it's still zoned.
Still zoned
Nobody's
as
come in and
industrial.
changed that zone.
Now they sell it on.
The county hasn't rezoned that. We haven't, so it is still an industrial zone that goes right up through there.
Well, this special use is just a one-time thing for him.
Yeah, special use permit would be, basically, it would be a permit that we would, the county and us would draw up with them, that as long as it is used for that purpose, the trucking yard, it would be allowed.
Uh-huh.
And when he quit using it for that, it would revert
Then it
back
reverts back to the
single-family
residential. Yeah. Okay.
Have you spoke to the county about it?
Yeah. Bruce, how do you feel
What do you
about
think about that?
uses?
I think that the board would probably go more for special use than they will for a zone change in that area, based on their previous comments. We've had 2 kind in that area already.
That were denied?
They denied both of them. And so the special use would probably work just as well. The industrial zone is interesting that it's so close,
Mhm.
but it's not touched, he's not a part of that.
No, he's not, he's
No.
in the R1.
So,
What do you say?
yeah. Special use.
That's right.
And how far is it really from the industrial zone to his property?
His property line, his west side of his property line butts up to that
Joins it.
industrial zone line.
On that note, I have a question.
Mhm.
If you were to do that, would that give them access out through the industrial site as opposed to routing through residential to get trucks in and out?
That would be up to somebody to develop that, and that's not something we could do.
Yeah.
That way they can get straight out, towards the Tatum Highway as opposed to,
They would have to get the
Cut across.
easement through that from other people because there's not a road dedicated through there. The only dedicated roads are actually Lone Star, Terrace, Canyon,
And
and a couple of others that are actually dedicated easements.
so I purchased that land probably about the same time he did,
Mhm.
which is, I went to school here, whatever, I've been here. for
Can
a long
you
time.
state your name, please?
Yes, my name is Jack Guzman. So I have, if you look on that map, the 5 acres directly north, and I'm the one that sent you the pictures or whatever. So their only access is through Canyon Lane and through Lone Star Lane. And he is right. You try driving out there, the roads are deeply rutted. As a matter of fact, that was my complaint. Because of that traffic, whether you go out Canyon or Lone Star, on my 5 acres, the truckers have cut a path through there,
Right.
through the 5 acres that I own.
Yeah, but I mean, I really own that land. Why don't you just put a sign, some signs in there or something?
So I didn't fence it, but initially when we bought, after that whole subdivision was surveyed,
Mhm.
we went out. The corner posts and the start for the markers were put in the ground right after everything is surveyed. What happened is Canyon Lane was so deeply rutted
Mhm.
that they started bypassing it.
To gra-
Going into my- As a matter of fact, through my 5 acres, there's a straight diagonal cut through my 5 acres to go straight to that shop,
Yeah, you need to blame the county and the city for not having the roads out there, you know, I mean.
through my 5 acres, like literally a road for the 18-wheelers. And sure.
Do you live out there?
I don't, and that's the reason why I never did anything with the land, because as soon as everybody started breaking up and started moving housing in, their trucks started going. Who's gonna wanna live residential next to 18-wheelers going up and down?
Oh, so you didn't move out there because
No.
it was coming in
What
there?
I was gonna do is initially I was planning on it, and that fell through because there's no control over that.
Well, my deal is if you came to me and said, hey, this is my,
Yeah.
I don't have a clue whose property, I thought that property was
Yeah.
gone, lost, I didn't know.
Did you didn't?
It's
talk
been
about
years.
it?
If you came to me and said, this is my property, you know, take that other road or something, but I didn't have a clue that you, I mean, that's the deal out there. We don't know who, you know, what roads.
I could have called the city or checked to see who owns it.
I did, I mean, they called them to fix the roads out to see where the roads are at. I mean, that's.
And so that was and I know why they did it, because the road is so messed up. You can't get out into waters or a 6-shooter without like literally in a truck bouncing up and down. Like it is not maintained. Like
So basically, the road's not like it gets flooded up when it rains, so they're kind of driving around it, which people do. That's just kind of what happens, you know, to save equipment and everything. But your complaint is that whenever he does take it around, it's going through your stuff.
those.
But do you have it fenced out or anything?
So it's not fenced out.
Okay.
The markers are there, all the corner posts are there.
Okay.
And I mean, I just stopped at that point, right? It's like, well, what do you do? My front yard doesn't have a fence either. Doesn't mean I want 18-wheelers cutting across through there.
Yeah. I
So,
mean, typically, just from personal experience, in a situation like that, a fence will help quite a bit.
and if you guys take the drive through there, you'll notice where the road gets so
Yeah.
rutted. And what started off as a 2-track starts getting wider, and then it puddles out, and then people keep getting wider and wider till they're practically right in the fence line. People have dumped loads of dirt out there. Like you can drive through there and see mounds where people dump their dirt topsoil. I don't know if it's with the intention of dragging it out to fill some of that or not. But even on Canyon, at some point, big trucks, even with belly dumps, drop roads like gravel and whatever else through there because of it. Which is why they
Big
started
potholes and stuff.
bypassing.
Yeah.
But he is right, you know, if they would, if somebody would go out there and pay attention, and really if they want to make it decent enough,
Sounds like if you have
they
good,
could make that road from east to west, like he's saying, and that would be the main road right there. And
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to be trying to make out a road.
sounds like with some road maintenance, y'all probably don't even have a conflict. I
No,
would suspect.
no, exactly.
Other than you have 18-wheelers next to your house going up and down.
But do you live out there?
I don't,
You don't.
that's what I'm saying, that's what stopped me, that's what prevented me from going out there and setting.
But regardless, if we do it as special use or R3 commercial,
That's not gonna
Oh,
solve
yeah.
it.
Until he
Yeah.
puts a fence, you know. it's like-
Well,
How long has the roadie's been out there on that Canyon Drive?
whenever they first went out there and surveyed, everybody who got land out there was supposed to leave 20 foot from the initial lines, right? So they surveyed.
And that's just a setback.
Set the markers, yeah, 20, everybody was supposed to leave 20 foot. for
They are
easement
60
on
foot
every side.
easements out there.
Is it 60?
Yep.
No problem, so you, I mean, how would you want to live out there within road? I mean, you.
I don't think anybody here wants to.
Emergency out there, you can't get when it rains.
Right.
Can't even get out there?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Canyon, Terrace, and Lone Star are all 60-foot easements in that subdivision. And then they have a 20-foot setback from the property line to build.
Is that Shep's? Kristen, is that in Shep's?
Yes.
Let me explain on Shep's, 1 and 2. 3 was vacated a number of years ago after it was actually first done. Chatham subdivision was developed, well, let's put it this way, it was dedicated and paper platted in 1930. I don't know what their rules were then, wasn't even a shine in anybody's eye then. So the only road out there that actually lines up with a paper platted road is Lone Star. And on the plat, that would be Avenue J. And that's the only one that's there. I don't know what Canyon might be. I didn't even realize Canyon was out there. It's been so
It
long
used to be,
since I've been
I
out
think it
there.
was platted as Davis.
Davis,
Davis or something like that.
okay, so it must be the far western one.
Or actually it was platted as Chavis Street. Yeah, Canyon was platted as Chavis Street on the written plat, on the old original plat.
I'm assuming they were able to make subdivisions back then, line out the roads, and when houses were going to be placed on those roads, then the people would get together and they would build a road. Because this portion of Chavis, 2 and 3 are like that. I mean, 1 and 2 are like that. Alford and Tatum is like that. Second unit of Daniels and Tatum is like that. All those were built around that same time period in the early 30s, or they were dedicated in the early 30s, but none of those roads are built. And that's the only thing I can tell you. The best you can do now, if you want the county to maintain the roads, is you'll have to do an improvement district. Get with the county to set up and do an improvement district. You guys will build the roads, or the county will build the roads, but they're gonna charge you the price of those roads for 7 years on your taxes.
I think the roads can stay where they.
Sounds like a good deal. I don't have no problem.
You can probably, the other problem you would have is you're gonna have chip seal because they're within the extraterritorial zone, Lovington. But you could probably get them to let you do a caliche road out there, keep it that way. You might get with them and see what it would cost, and see if you can get the people in that subdivision to go along and build those roads. There's enough people out there that it may not be as bad as you think it will be. Some of the people that have bad roads, they've only got 5 or 6 people on the road. That's a huge amount of money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. For being residential, I can't believe that. I mean,
But that's why those roads were never built.
it's bad.
They were just made out there because that subdivision's been around almost 100 years.
I don't have to pay like 3 or 4 different people. I was, hey, I want this lot, I want this lot. How much you want me on this? So I know you.
Oh, yeah, and there was lots of different ones, and unfortunately, back then, and this is just hearsay, and this is what I heard for a number of years, a lot of those lots were bought originally as oil lots. They convinced people they could come in and drop a pump jack
And get a.
on there and suck oil out of the ground because it was everywhere.
Yeah.
And they're gonna make huge amounts of money.
Somebody
And
like
do it, but-
somebody like it, somebody.
It doesn't even sound like it's hardly livable out there.
There's not, this, like I said, this is out there, you got Daniels and, Tatum, you've got Shank and Cone out here on,
Yeah.
the Denver City Highway, they were all done that way. The best you can do, and what I told people as when I was in the assessor's office, the best you can do is buy up that whole lot, and then it's all yours. The problem is you just can't find some of those people because they live in Massachusetts now.
I got out of mine clear, I guarantee you. I think I paid like 3 or 4 different people. Like, well, if you don't If you don't, I mean, I'll go fence around your yard, your shop or whatever, so I don't care how much you want. So,
You know, if there's any kind of fence around your property would be good, even like one strand barbed wire or something that just designates this as private land. It's over there.
Well, it's like, you know, I feel bad because I didn't even know he owned, you know, that, where he's not, exactly where he's not eating. Because you would have to, you know, actually that road, both of the railroad, I mean, if you go through there, I mean, you get stuck. So that's when everybody started going around. I guess that was his property, but I didn't have a clue that he owned.
Yeah, because it was,
Nothing on it.
Yeah.
nothing,
Right.
just that was another field, you weren't sure if anybody owned it or not. It's understandable, but no, there's very little vacant land around. Somebody owns all
This one, too.
So when you gonna go fix it, are you from the county?
of it. I'm a county planner.
Well, you need to go plan them roads, go figure out how you're gonna fix
The road's planned.
it. Go put some caliche on there.
They're playing.
This is canyon, this is what, you know. No,
The Lone Star goes all within his property.
Yes, it does.
that ends to month,
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, the pasture out there, I mean, that's what you want to call it.
Yeah, it just gets lighter and lighter on the aerial view because it's not used as much out towards his area.
That's Canyon.
There's actually more
Canyon's one
golfers
that
out there
runs
than
north and
anything else, to be honest. There's a lot of golfers.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I'm sure there is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's one
How close is the nearest house?
from him.
Catty corner.
Why, quite a bit.
With the one further, literally catty corner.
Oh, to the end of.
Yeah, there's a few.
Or you're talking about which way?
Yeah, I don't know which one you're talking about.
This is closest house.
It's probably,
Any direction.
probably about
100 foot.
From what?
Oh, no, he's probably 300 foot away from the nearest house.
yeah, that's the open, you know, that's it.
Might be
On the open side or on the canyon side?
canyon side going up. He's probably, those are 25
Yeah.
foot
There's a-
long.
Oh, yeah.
That's a-
He's probably 100,
Yeah, that's
150,
easy.
probably 100, 150 from that one.
Okay. Boy, we.
I take the motion.
I'd like to accept and make a motion to allow special use permit for this property.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Easy Mars. Yes or no? Okay, so you all were giving you that special permit. Does it have to go for?
It has to go to county.
Does it have to go to county and that?
That has to go to county.
Say yes or no?
Yes.
So what happens is I forward all the information to Bruce, and in a week or two, you go visit with him, and he sets up a whole new meeting, and you have it there. It is presented to city commission on their next commission date, but they don't have any authoritative saying, it's just telling them what's going on.
Okay, I'll accept the motion on our next. Zone change for 1429 8th North 7th Street, 10 acres. We've been here before.
Make a motion for consideration of 1428 North.
Also good.
Crystal.
All right, so owner came to us a while back and was gonna do the whole 50 acres, 31 acres.
Yeah.
She went on to county with it and she was denied. They did advise her that she could maybe do a 10-acre parcel with this. Well, did you get to hear what she was here before?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
You did.
Yeah.
I don't even know about it.
You already know about it? Okay. So we're looking to change it to a commercial zone, or again, go with a special use. So she can have a venue on this property. The county advised her to build a road from 9th to the venue.
Why we should use that alleyway.
So that extra cost and everything, it's getting to where it's building up. First we had thought she could go through from 7th. We had no objections to that from any citizens. We do have some objections from the traffic on 9th from some citizens now. They sent emails. Have you guys read those emails? I don't think they're here.
Yeah, we go.
Yeah.
They just said it's already a high traffic area. And we're against the traffic being there. But whether we let her enter on 7th or 9th, if she has a venue, there's going to be people going in there. It wouldn't be, I don't think it would be extremely heavy traffic.
The Catholic Church has a lot of traffic.
Yes, it does. Yes, it
That's
does.
a big venue.
And my feelings on if your animals are getting ran over, it's because you did not keep
There
them
you go.
properly contained. I don't let my dogs run loose because I don't want my dogs ran over.
Sure.
My dad lives out in the country. He has a dog that jumps the fence, chases cars.
Yep.
And he says, when the dude gets ran over, he gets ran over. I'll put a hole in his head if it don't finish him off. Sorry, but that's just that way. So, he expects his dog to stay in the yard.
So basically, we're here to, you want to do the 10 acres?
Would you like to go ahead and step on up and introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Griffin.
I am.
And the last meeting that I went to, they recommended that I change, instead of doing the whole property, just do the 10 acres. So I said, that's fine. Go through the process again. And they said they would prefer the entrance be on 9th Street. So I'm changing it to 9th Street. So I'm just taking the recommendations and coming back through the process.
So instead of using an alley, you would just do 9th Street. You're gonna.
Right, 9th Street, just like the church. You turn to go to the church. you turn to the
It's all about the
church.
church.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
That would make her incur the cost of having to put in an access road.
All the way to the barn. You've already, the barn's already built, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Already built.
Yeah.
We have pictures of the barn.
Yeah.
She would also have to do a replat in order to change one particular area of this whole parcel. She would then have the incurred cost of doing a replat to actually separate this 10 acres out
Sure.
to appropriate that zone change. If they don't want to do a zone change with the things she's changed from what they said, then maybe we could offer up that same special use. And this would be, once she didn't use that as a venue,
It couldn't be changed to another company.
it couldn't, no.
Yeah, I couldn't pass with different
A
ownership.
new ownership would have to come in and ask
They'd have to
for
come
the
in and
same
do the
special
same
permit.
thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if she just sold it as land and a barn, and they didn't come in for that special use, they'd have to use it as residential.
Mhm.
So again, that's where the special use kind of just makes it something that can happen for a time.
It's more custom
And
fit.
It's
So
not a
is there a
permanent
time limit on it, given that there's only that same owner?
commission or the county commission, they can add a time limit to a special use permit.
Okay?
Most of the time, special use permits are just for that owner, for that use. So if the owner or that use changes, it becomes null and void.
Sure. But it lives on in perpetuity as long as that owner owns the
And
property.
that use
It
is.
doesn't go off in like, say, 10, 15, or 20
No.
years.
So what most time in special use, if it is not used for a year for that use,
Then
it's void.
it cancels, okay?
Yes.
Is 7th Street the same width as 9th Street?
Yep.
Part of this 9th Street though is taken care of by the county.
I would have to ask Streets about that.
Yes.
I think the end of it, the county.
Actually, 9th Street is an 80-foot easement and 7th Street is a 60-foot easement. So there's, yeah, 7th is only a 60-foot easement, 9th is an 80-foot easement, so. There's a big difference.
Clifford Stevens, I live on 801 West Gum. I have no problem with the special deal, like you're talking about, the young lady that has it for her finger. I live straight across the pasture. I did have a problem with all of it being that way. But I've talked to several of the neighbors, especially over by the Catholic church. They couldn't make it tonight, but they said that they weren't for the entrance off the 9th Street because at night as they leave, those headlights are gonna be right in their house, just like it used to be up here by the hospital. People cut across that lot up there. But I don't see no problem with it, special event or permit. If there's a limit on the noise and the time that the noise stops. Because that music that they play loud, it vibrates all the way across the spectrum.
So she did have that she would have set times for noise in her venue. And it would be set times through the week and the weekend.
What's it?
I would comply with the noise ordinance.
Yes, there's no,
10 during the week or
I
down
have to
some.
comply just like everybody else.
yeah.
So, I mean, there's no difference.
Like I said, special deal, that way if she does get out of business, she can't, it goes back to residential.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any problem with it. I don't know about the other neighbors, but that's my only problem with it.
Yeah,
Is
so
the noise and the time of day that the noise is
Yeah, because
going?
I'm an old man and I like to go to bed around 10 o'clock.
And that is Sunday through Thursday, she has 10 PM as the music, the noise generated would be restricted just to the indoors use only after 10 and after 11 on Friday and Saturday.
But sometimes that indoor music vibrates everything.
Well, that's when we would get the noise ordinance involved.
When he's talking about the noise that he's talking about, it's not coming from.
No, it's not coming from her now.
Yeah.
I was just making a computer noise. It's not coming from your dog. No.
I would suspect that bar's got some, yep, it's a pretty good insulation and all that, yeah.
You're not gonna get a lot of
I wouldn't think the reverberation, you said it perfectly.
reverberation.
Yeah, you said it perfectly.
And I want to have a nice place. I don't want to have a rowdy, crazy place.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we know you do.
Are you gonna have a privacy fence around the 10 acres? Like a solid fence around the 10 acres?
I have not planned on that.
Well, I just thought that
A solid
would cut out
fence?
some of the noise and it would cut out some of the headlights and stuff too.
Well, the headlights is.
They're gonna be in the way.
Yeah, the headlights coming straight out.
Other the people by the, just north of the Catholic church.
So, yeah, so what, like you're saying, whenever they're coming west down the property, the headlights.
Leaving parties, they're gonna hit those two houses right there.
Right, those two houses.
But that's traffic anywhere.
What?
Yeah, I know what it is, yeah, yeah.
You
If you're gonna live around people,
You don't live around, maybe you don't have traffic.
it is,
You
yeah.
already have a specific place you're gonna have the in and out.
The next
Picture, not necessarily specific, but closer to the Catholic Church than.
In your packet, she has the site plan. It's not on, I didn't put it on.
Well, I was just wondering if you could offset it from where they come out of church, if it would be offset from them. That would save the difference in the light.
It still would affect them
It's still.
because anywhere in that area, it's gonna be headed straight west.
Unless you move your road on the north side of Nancy Smith's house.
Yeah,
But
that
I
is
mean,
correct.
she lives in town.
So could we do the special use still? I think the county would have passed it.
I think the county will pass the 10 acres.
Yeah, she did
But
10
the
acres.
special use will save her from having to replat and everything else.
So that's why
So
I
which way
suggested
would you
just,
go, Alma?
Can we let them decide?
Yeah.
Would they-
so kind of like how I brought it to you, if you'll just approve it with the zone change or special use,
Uh-huh.
then the county can make that final decision.
Yeah, maybe she could make it before she goes through the trouble of surveying and breaking out the 10 acres. You're right, and then all that can happen simultaneously. Huh?
Yeah, like I said, this is the second time she's had to pay all the fees to actually submit this.
Yeah.
We don't want her to have to do this again.
No, we don't.
That's a good thing.
It is. It's a good thing for
Absolutely
the
it is.
community.
I do, I think it's good.
Now, we need to promote
So the special use, you're still gonna be using it on the exit entrance on 9th, you're gonna try to do it on 7th.
But you got to put one out.
Yeah.
Yeah, the county wanted her to do it off the
It's
top.
gotta be up Ninth Street.
Make a motion to pass it on to, like you said, Christian.
To approve it for either zone change or
Absolutely.
special use.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Now, can we go with special deal or just either one?
Either one,
It'll be up to.
we're gonna let the county decide that.
It's up to the authorities.
Okay, I'll accept a motion for the zone change for 2101 West First Street.
Make a motion.
Consider.
I'll second.
So,
All right, 2101 West Fur. Go to the next slide. This is off of Gum Street, south of Gum Street, out on, out there in the area of 25th. And first, you guys know, everybody familiar with the area?
yeah,
So this headed out west on Gum, past 17th. There's a little subdivision out there that's been there for
For a long
a
time,
long time.
long time.
But they actually have chip sealed roads.
They do, they do. We go
They
practice
do.
driving out there.
Yes. So they were cited by county code officers for having trucks. This is an R2, which is a multifamily residential zone. R2 just means that you could have single wide mobile homes or apartments or duplexes. You can have more than one family on the lot, if that's how you want to look at that. But again, trucking is not one of the things that's allowed in that zone. This company has these people have a small trucking company, and they just want to request a zone change so they can keep their trucking company at their home. They provided a site plan in your packet, and the owner also provided street side pictures of the area. Were you guys able to view those?
Yes.
and these are all the people that live right around you.
I have a question. Do they live on their residence also?
Yes.
Can you do both?
Well, if it's commercial, you can. That's why it's, because the residence is not what's not allowed. It's
No,
the
it's
trucking that's not allowed.
Yeah.
So if you live in a commercial zone, you can actually have a home on the same lot as your trucking business.
Okay.
Are there complaints from the neighbors or just the code officer?
I did not get any complaints from the neighbors in this location, and
Okay,
everybody within 100 feet, just like on all of these, everybody within 100 feet, and I don't count the roads in that footage, is notified by a certified letter for me anytime we do these.
okay.
Like I said, all the people on this list had no problem.
Yep. Yeah, and they actually had sign off from adjacent property owners that were not against them having the trucks there.
I think I'm leaning towards a special permit on this also,
Okay,
because of the.
because
it's not
the other,
personal. Yeah, because it's all residential. This is the only commercial property and I don't.
Yeah.
that
you
is the
wouldn't want
point I
to
made in my
change.
staff report, that this is all residential around them.
I know some people that live in there and I don't have a problem, if they don't have a problem with it, I don't have a problem with it. I don't want to make it a permanent change.
Okay,
I think we need to do it too.
That's my vote.
Yeah, I think that's the right thing to do, because I mean, if you do start really picking, I mean, like, there's a
Well-
lot of companies that have water trucks and places, I don't think they have any business
and
being
when
that.
you go to spot zoning, you don't want to do that small of a lot.
No, you
It's
don't,
not
that
good.
would make no sense.
It doesn't make sense.
But if we do start picking on these guys, then you gotta go to everybody.
Mhm.
I'll make a motion to do special permit on the property.
All those in favor? Aye.
Was the owner here for this one? Is that you?
Yeah.
Is that you? Okay, did you understand what they just did?
Hey, man.
Okay, okay, I will get with you afterwards and get one of the ladies to translate and I'll go over it.
Man, on that one,
Jamie?
just a question. So this is what we were just talking about. You go back to that picture on this one. The Terrace.
Oh, he's
Oh,
talking
they
about the
haven't,
next.
they haven't.
We haven't finished.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
So-
Oh, yeah, you've seen the Terrace. Okay, make a motion.
Accept a motion for the change for 3025 North Terrace Lane.
I'll make that motion.
You second.
Okay, so 3025 was also visited by code enforcement out there. Told the trucks had to be moved off of the property because it was residential only. They came in, filed paperwork with me, like very early on. As soon as they got the ticket, they come in and see me. And so they want to change this to an R3. And I did not have time to go over them. Is the owner for this property here? I don't think they're even here. Do we want to hear this to go on? Or I have to table it?
They're not here.
They're not here. That is,
Yeah.
they have to be at these meetings.
Yeah.
Okay. So we just table this
So we
one
will table
until.
this one.
Make motion to table.
I'll
we
second.
can get-
Well, the owner's not here, so I'll have to set up a new meeting date.
That's fine,
So it'll just be tabled till the next meeting.
till the next meeting. Because with them not here, I don't want to make out.
Yep.
Yep, on their property.
Did we want to hear his comment on it?
Yeah.
If you want to go ahead.
Please. Can we zoom out of that real quick? So this is the same area. Literally, the
Go to
park,
the next picture. I think it's.
this is my, you back up a little bit,
Okay, it's because she said there was
Oh,
a picture.
I did go closer, but I see where it cuts across the yard.
this
You're
is my
talking.
5 acres here. Ariel is out here, right, towards the bottom. All this, you're running all the ruts and all this other stuff, you're running into the same scenario. If those are not maintained, it's the same thing. They're practically catty corner from me, right, from the end of mine, on Canyon. That whole subdivision, I understand it's not county's responsibility to maintain it, but trucks going up and down all this, it's the same issue that's gonna be there. Because if that's the case, then, I mean, next thing you're gonna see me put in a motion for also for a special request for commercial use and set something up out there. Because as
And you're
residential zone,
Yeah.
residential zone, it's pointless to try to build a home.
But it's hard to give a special name to one in the area and not anybody else.
The other one.
Right, because I'm trying to figure out what to do with that land. If that's the case, I might as well set up a shop.
Not
and
just
make it
trucks
work.
are gonna cause arrests, pickups and cars. are gonna-
Right, I understand that. However,
Four-wheelers.
Four-wheelers,
Have problems
in
with
off-road
four-wheelers.
vehicles.
Mhm.
But trucks do, but there's a lot of guys that live out there that drive a truck.
Well, I mean, you can see right over there, there's a whole bunch of semis parked right there on another lot.
yeah, and that's even, that's an older picture.
Yeah.
It was actually taken in Q4 or 21, so it was at first of this last year.
Anybody who's got, as soon as they broke all that apart, they had a little bit of land, they're like, oh, we can fit trucks in here, and everybody started putting trucks in.
Get with
So-
our mom, and said he'll buy your property.
But it will.
I bet he would.
Oh, yeah.
I bet he would.
Because if not, I mean, then I gotta figure out what to do with it, because, yeah,
Yeah.
for residential is pointless at that.
Well,
That's-
No.
for example, where I live, there was nobody out there when we bought the place. Well, now there's 3 or 4 truck places out there by us, but there's nothing I do about it. So I mean, they're gonna be everywhere anyway. So you just have to figure out what to do the best way. If you don't want the property, then just sit there and buy it.
Well, I've been in Livingston for a long time, right?
We always liked that property.
I would like to see it just be taken care of and maintained, right? As opposed to, having to find something else. I mean, that's always an option, right? There's plenty, but my complaint is there's plenty of commercial land in Livingston. And when everybody starts bringing.
You think there is.
Well, that's another big issue.
It is, it's a big issue that we do.
There's not as much commercial property.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Well, that's available.
Yeah,
We
it's
bought
available.
every lot
Yeah.
across the road, so we own 12 on this side of the road, 11 on this side. And the reason we bought that was because everybody was using it for garbage dump and other things. So we bought it, cleaned it up, and fixed it up. Nobody's bothering it now.
I'm all for making Livingston better, right? And getting subdivisions and getting everything maintained and growth when it comes to population and layout is always a positive thing. But if I'm gonna get to the point where if I can't.
Like you said, that was subdivided a long time ago to drill oil wells.
Right, and I know that because I've had to buy out slivers within those
Oh, yeah.
slivers from people.
Yep.
And they're still the same thing, right?
It's all
They're waiting
over
on
town.
oil to hit, and I was like,
Yeah,
everybody's
everybody's
not coming up.
do that ground.
Oh, and also another thing is, really, it's until those residents get together and do a plan to actually improve those roads, the county won't improve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're gonna deal with those roads until the citizens in that area decide to pay that money to actually have it fixed. The county's not gonna come in and fix it and maintain it, but if the citizens fix the road, the county would then come in probably with a maintenance plan once the citizens put in the effort to make that a better place.
All right. Thank you.
Anything else? It's in the rest of the
Oh, wait, sorry about that. We didn't get a second on that last one.
Yeah, they do.
Who did you second? Okay, Julia.
She didn't, just didn't hear her, she was quiet.
Yeah.
Dude, be quiet tonight.
Holler a little bit. Yeah.
Somebody blew my,
I'm a big fan of.
somebody hollered in my ear, so I kind of blew it out.
You got slapped him.
Now I'm ready.
We sit over here.
So, yeah.
Two Mark's gonna turn.
All those in favor?
So,
Okay, second.
Second.
okay, now we're good. Let's just get out.
Make a motion to dismiss it to the tree.
Everybody always complains about how
So
cold